In the Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, Senator Douglas stated, "If the people of any other territory desire slavery, let them have it. If they do not want it, let them prohibit it. It is their business and not mine." These comments summarize America's long battle with the states' rights position. Since the days of the Federalist Papers, this nation has vacillated on the question of federalism. You know, the division of powers between the federal, state, and local governments. Should we have centralized policies that guarantee equal protections across all 50 states and the over 80,000 local governments, or should we allow the freedom for states to do as they choose? For the poor and disenfranchised, this ideology has left them unprotected, disrespected, and rejected. So let's talk about states' rights. The states' rights argument was used in the 1860s to justify Southern secession from the Union in defense of slavery. The states' rights argument was used in the 1930s to justify resistance against certain New Deal reforms. The states' rights argument was used in the 1960s to justify denying the progress of the civil rights movement. The states' rights argument was used up until the 1970s to justify denying the creation of a federal Department of Education. The states' rights argument was used in the early 2000s to justify the federal government's weak and ineffective response to Hurricane Katrina. The states' rights argument is currently being used to justify allowing for wholesale voter suppression across the nation. And the states' rights argument is being used to currently reject federal approaches to our major public health and energy crises. The major problem with the states' rights ideology is that the quality of housing, education, and public safety that citizens receive depends heavily on the state in which they live. For instance, southern states are drastically poorer than those in the north. Yet poverty and social despair have no region or political affiliation. And yes, these issues exist in both red states and blue states. In 2020, we saw the largest unemployment numbers in America since the Great Depression. About 500,000 Americans lost their lives. Yet one entity, the federal government, has the unique ability to marshal the resources necessary to address these challenges. In a true crisis, there is no room for states' rights. No citizen or state should be left to fend for themselves. What happens in Vegas definitely does not stay in Vegas. It literally impacts all of us. As Dr. King said, all men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Remember, for every state and every part of the nation, we all truly are in this together.